Good afternoon, everybody. Rob here at WesternPacificWeather.com. It currently is the 19th of September, about 16:20 in the afternoon, Japan Standard Time, and that's approximately about 07 Zulu, so universal time for everybody out there. Looking at 12 Whiskey, Fanapi, right here. It's located centrally right over Taiwan, starting to move off the west coast, according to radar imagery here, and also satellite imagery and observations are kind of putting it out over our center of location, right just off the southwest coast right now. As far as looking around at observations around the island, currently seeing up at Taipei, you guys are looking like you're out of the woods pretty much for overall here. Seeing right around sustain about 40 knots. Still have the occasional gust up in that region, but moving south over Hualu, Waluin, yeah, that's it. Seeing sustained winds right around 23 knots. Lots of very good observations and videos coming out of that region as well. If you go on just YouTube and just look up Fanapi, lots of good obs out of there. I guess there's a lot of chasers down there and just overall people with their cameras out. So thank you for that. Thanks. I know taking shelter is definitely the #1 concern, but as weather forecasters, always appreciate the observations out of there. So thanks. Moving farther to the west over these islands out here in the strait, these are what are seeing the max winds right now. Still seeing max sustained winds right around 40 knots with the occasional typhoon strength gust out there. And as far over in Kwashuing, I believe that is the name of it, right in this area, they're still seeing sustained winds or gusting up to about 40 knots in that region. So overall, though, winds look like they're starting to calm down here. Still have a few really strong rain bands in this region right down in here. These still have the possibility to produce tornadic activity, especially in the southern periphery right in here, as they're starting to pick up more moisture out here in the Taiwan Strait. Very warm waters out here. So the southwest coast definitely not out of the woods yet. Even if the winds still have calmed down a little bit, I would still take shelter until this evening, until the storm starts to move off towards the Now, the one thing I really do want to get into, no one really forecasted it, and it kind of kicking myself in the butt here for not forecasting it. Totally forgot the one of the main rules of actually forecasting is whenever a system makes landfall, with the interaction of friction, it'll take a slight jog to the left, and that's what definitely happened here. It took more than a slight jog. We saw landfall with this system right up in here around Hualien, and actually see on this radar shot right in here, see the landfall right up in this region. Now, as it ran into the mountain range right here in the center of the island, it took a very large jog to the southwest right in here, basically going around the mountains, since the system is so shallow, and basically it just goes right around it, and usually it'll just run right over it and it'll get disrupted completely in doing so. But with this system, these high mountains, it definitely got disrupted a lot more, and moving to the south. Good news though, this did weaken it a lot. Bad news, and there is a lot of bad news with it, it's going to be extended rainfall through the southern part of the island in this mountain range area here. So I would expect to receive some reports of flooding out of this entire area right in here. Hopefully no mudslides as we saw last year, but definitely a flash flooding is a very high risk. The other thing is that with this southern jog, it does start to put Hong Kong in the picture as far as getting some impacts, and a lot of the cities along mainland China coast right in here also looking at some more impacts. So also gives it more time over this warm water just to the southern portion of the strait here to redevelop. But right now, though, it looks like it did get a lot more weakened than originally forecast over Taiwan. So good and bad news out of this, but we're going to look at the track right now. Here's the latest warning from JMA showing that southern jog right in here, also showing the winds have decreased rapidly, showing right around approximately 55 knots right now. So that's from JMA, though JT is still a little bit higher. As it starts to move off to the west though, Hong Kong located right in this region, they are now inside the cone, so definitely have to watch out for any possible impacts with that. And also, as already noted, though, this also gives the storm a little more time over this warmer water to redevelop, even though it has been a lot more weakened. As originally, though, it was just supposed to just cross the strait right here and make landfall with a little time to redevelop. So I'm curious of what JTWC is going to say on the next warning in regards to this, how much more strength it's going to get out of it, or if it's too disrupted right now to regain full and strong typhoon strength on this. Now looking at the infrared satellite picture right in here, showing it going over Taiwan and that jog to the southwest. Still overall organized. That is the one thing out of it. The low-level clouds definitely have been tore up dramatically, indicated on radar, but the upper level portion and the outflow aloft is still there. That wind shear we were talking about looks like it's kind of drifted off actually to the west, so it's not going to affect it so much at this time. After it moves over land, and you already got the land interaction, that's when we'll start to see that interaction with the wind shear. So right now, though, the outflow aloft plus warm waters here south of Taiwan are definitely pointing towards some reorganization of the system before making landfall again over China just to the northeast of Hong Kong. Now, moving away from 12 Whiskey out here, I don't want to jump too far off of that, but we are also looking at this investigation area out here, right around 150 between 160 degrees east. This is forming up to the west of Guam right now, moving to the northwest, max sustained winds right around 25 knots. So definitely watching this, seeing some increased circulation on it actually over the past 12 hours as far as ASCAT imagery is indicating. It looks like it should move to the north of Guam at this time, so kind of missing out on that right in there, so that's good news for them. Models are indicating, actually just the GFS model is indicating that this is going to move off to the north and then eventually recurve to the northeast due to interaction with this upper level trough moving over Honshu today. So here's the streamline analysis indicating that anticyclonic rotation out here and your system right in here and its upward vorticity right in here, positive vorticity indicating upward vertical motion. This is likely going to follow this anticyclonic rotation right around in this upper level trough right in here. So hopefully that does happen. It stays off to north, moving to the east of Iwilto right in here. So just in and goes off to the northeast with no effects really to any main population areas. But the other possibility, though, you have this anticyclonic rotation right in here. If this does drift off towards the east, as we saw with 12 Whiskey here, it could pinch off this keel right in here and basically keep the system to the south and end up following along these streamlines right in here, moving over possibly Saipan and Northern Marianas. So something we do have to watch right now. Looks like it has potential to develop over the next 24 to 48 hours. JT has actually put a TCFA alert out on it, so definitely watching this system closely. But that is further down the lines right now, not located near any population areas. Right now, all eyes are on Fanapi. Do you want to end with this? This is actually a Google Earth visual warning from JTWC is overlaid onto this. Still showing some very good organization in the upper levels with 12 Whiskey here as we take off the satellite picture showing us moving across the west. They still have not, on the next warning, possibly in an hour and a half here, they're going to show that southern jog on this. This is still going off of the 12 o'clock warning, which still looks like it was actually moving off to the west. So, and as I'm already stating, though, not many people picked up on this southern jog, including myself, so I'll be first to admit. Looking at just moving north of Hong Kong, still predicting that as well, though. Hong Kong's seen right around temperatures in the high 90s today, so it was if it does move far enough north and just get some cloud cover and some precipitation, actually probably be a pretty good relief for them in there. So I know that we have some people down there in Hong Kong that have been putting out reports, so thank you for passing that along. Thanks again for everybody in Taiwan for passing along your reports and out to the Okinawa and the Ryukyu Islands. Still have not received any reports of damage out of the southern Ryukyu Islands here pertaining to 12 Whiskey here, but it's a very sparsely populated overall in that region, so probably still not very many reports out of there. Also, most of the reports are in Japanese, which I cannot read anyways. So if anybody gets any reports, please pass it on to me, and I would be greatly appreciated. So have a great day, everybody. I'll have another update later this evening, possibly around midnight, so stay safe and keep me informed. Have a nice day.